guess I should make sure I
Good
do this.
afternoon, David and David. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great. How guys? How are you?
I'm good.
Doing
I'm
good
good.
also.
Good. Good. We got the reboot Wednesdays at 1:30 Eastern time. Again, had some conferences going on, so we're trying to. We may miss a week here and there, but that's our targeted schedule is every Wednesday Eastern time, 1:30 p.m. Um, Today we're going to talk about Microsoft and OpenAI. I know some of you have probably heard of. Well, you heard of Microsoft. I can guarantee you that OpenAI may be something a little new to you, but we'll get into that. Before we do, I'm Brian Bratcher with B&L PC Solutions. I'm based out of Long Island, New York.
And I am Dave Groot with WinStar Technologies. We are based out of Culpeper, Virginia, coming to you today from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Nice. And David Luff with LDD Consulting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Very
Nice.
cool.
All right. So OpenAI was founded back in 2015 by Elon Musk, and he stepped away from it in 2018. And there's been some recent. He's recently expressed some publicly opposition to the technology and its rapid advancements and some of the things that it can do. Um, it's artificial intelligence. Some of you may have heard of Chat GBT, and the portion that we're going to talk about today with Microsoft. David was telling me have billions and billions of dollars invested into OpenAI and the technology. So it's not going anywhere soon. Maybe pieces of it need to be kind of sidelined or tabled or backburnered, whatever you want to call it. But all I know about, honestly, is the Chat GBT portion of it, and it's an amazing technology, and it's does everything from. I've seen people use it to write code. They literally just type in, "How do I write code to do this?" or "How do I write a script to do this?" And it just. And now, keep in mind, folks, this isn't something going out to Google and giving you a static result. This is actually on the fly creating this response to you, and then you can further go a little deeper and if they give you that code, for example, you could say, "What about for 3 users?" And you can keep that conversation going, and it just flows. People using it, I mean, that's why you got to be careful because there's some. I guess you can't call it plagiarism, but if you're asking it to write you a paper, it'll just give you all the stuff that it knows about a certain topic and spit that out to you. Now I'm hearing that you take that content and publish it somewhere that it can be detected that it was generated um, by AI. So without getting too deep into the weeds here, David, why don't you talk a little bit about what the direction that you see Microsoft going with the investments that they made and the partnership with OpenAI?
Okay. Uh, I guess it's kind of important to just give a sort of a background on what the Chat GPT and the OpenAI thing is, right? Like what does that mean? Elon Musk started it in 2015. Microsoft invested their first billion into it about 2019. They're now up to $13 billion invested. Companies valued at $29 billion, right? Chat GPT, when it was created in a very simple and non-technical way. So please don't, if you're a technical expert, don't come back at me and tell me I'm all full of crap. I'm talking to people who don't understand all this. And I want you to say it's basically an artificial intelligence that it read the entire internet, right? It read everything it could get to and understood it and was able to compare and learn. And now, as Brian mentioned, you're searching using natural language. So if you don't get the type of answer or results you're looking for, you shape the question a different way. And it's smart enough to then go get a different answer, which is where it becomes quite scary. Uh, so, from Microsoft's perspective, they're using it to power business, right? I mean, their Azure cloud is configured to run that publicly to continue to collect information and to build out the knowledge base, but more importantly, independently. Now, companies are going to be able to use the power of that to to read everything about the company, all of your documents, all of your data, all of everything, and then know all of that stuff about your company so that you can then use that quickly to do searches, to look for statistics, anomalies, whatever it is that you're trying to determine. If you're a new executive for that company, a new CEO coming in, and you want to know something about 20 years ago, or how did this happen, or what, like, you're going to talk to this thing. Basically, you're going to type in your questions and it's going to come back and give you answers. Now, that's really great stuff. That's wonderful for when somebody gets replaced, or you have a project that gets dropped, or, all those things. Very powerful, right? Then they're further integrating it into their productivity suite. So Word and Excel and PowerPoint and things like Visual Studio and their code development tools, right? Where, like you said, Brian, if you don't know how to code, or if you're not a programmer or an expert, you start talking or typing the questions, and the computer is going to come back and give you guidance, right? Okay, so here's the code. Hey, how can I optimize that so that it loads quicker than it does today? And it's going to look around and see if it can find any ideas. And it's going to say, well, if you change the code a little bit like this and that and the other, and bam, now you got that, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cool, and scary all at the same time, because take it to the world of hacking, which is where we kind of live, right? Cybersecurity. I always view things from worst case, right? Like, what can be done worst case with something? How am I going to mitigate that risk? What are the risks? What is it that we're now needing to worry about that we didn't think about in the past, right? So if I'm a hacker and today I can go to the dark web and I can pay some guy who knows what he's doing to do it for me, or I can buy a script or a payload or a virus or whatever. I don't have to be super skilled, but I got to know how to get to the dark web. I got to know a little bit. With OpenAI and Chat GPT, it doesn't we never get to the dark web, right? It's, you start asking questions. How do you do this? And it just tells you. If used by the wrong people, you got a problem, right? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just, the something that's been around is Siri, which is that's AI, and you can use it for pretty much anything you want to do on your phone or in your life. You can talk to this virtual assistant. I mean, people, I think that people think Siri is Googling, your questions, but it's an AI platform that Apple built. I don't know if they're using OpenAI or not, but it's an AI, and it's the same concept. And that's why you can have that conversation with Siri. If you ask a question, she'll read you your text. You give the reply. Would you like me to send it? No, I'll send it later. So you can have that flow, and it's all done through AI. The same technology, just used, for a very good and popular cause.
Well, yeah, that's been fenced in, right? Ring fenced, right?
Yep.
Like, it's designed, it does, but it can't go past this. Like,
Right.
That's what Apple's intentions for it were, right? And okay, that's fine. That it makes it a useful tool.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it couldn't still be used maliciously, but likely not so much.
Right.
As much as what we see happening today. But I mean, like, this comes back to the, sort of on some level, your comment brings other thoughts to me, but like, Siri, okay, and then there's, Google Assistant, Amazon, Alexa, right? Or, and then, like, all right, let me make sure I get my thoughts straight here before I say, because I want to make it right. So, like, those are all systems that have been collecting information, about you, and that, like you say, have some form of an artificial intelligence engine behind it. It may be as sophisticated or not as sophisticated, but start thinking about what TikTok and, why is it the government's panicking about something like TikTok and potentially China collecting that data about the United States, right? Because that's the same thing, right? Like, what is it? What are they worried about? They're worried about it knowing and learning all of your habits and all of your behaviors and all of your thoughts and the things you're doing, right? Using TikTok, because everybody's in it. They're just living life going on. Is that real? Is that something we need to worry about with that kind of concept behind it, right? That's brings questions to all these apps, is what I'm trying to say. And even these companies, Siri and all them, they're storing that information. What are they doing with it that they're not telling you? Right? You know they're using
Well,
it
they're
to know
telling you
more
it's in
about
that
you.
it's somewhere in the agreement
Clicked it.
yeah. And you scroll
Yeah.
through, and I think Apple's one of the ones that makes you go through that whole scroll process before you can tap
get
on
the
I
button.
agree or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about maybe again. So the concern here with some portions of OpenAI is the just the accelerated path that this is taking, and they kind of wanted to pump the brakes a little bit and kind of just understand what's going on, right? You look at even sort of related to this are these the deep fakes on the internet where you can um, take somebody, and I saw Harrison Ford from today side by side with himself from 35 years ago. He's talking, and his movements are exactly the same as they happen at the same time within this span, and you don't know the difference, right? And out of one of them he didn't say, right, but you can't tell which one. And there's a generator for I forget what it's called. I think it's "this person doesn't exist." If you type that into your browser, you'll pull up an AI site that will give you a full color photograph of a person that does not exist. Constantly refreshing, never the same. And it's just, I mean, talk about the fear in what's going on and how fast it's moving. I get it. I do. But the pros are so beneficial. We want, for us in our industry, we want to script something. We want to do something. We just type it in there and it comes out. Google, it's like you got to click on 10 different links before you find what you're looking for. I don't, it's a different experience, and
But it gets further than that, Brian. Self-healing, man. I mean, think about that, right? Build the AI technology into a firewall. Firewall starts to see an attack. It starts to self-heal. It remediates. It blocks. It knows what's going on. Like, whoa. I mean, that's crazy talk.
That's what replaced antivirus, right? Is AI based
right.
EDR
AI, machine learning, right? Yeah,
Yep.
all that behavioral analysis kind of stuff. Yeah,
For
exactly.
sure.
I mean, look, David Love, ask him. He's got an app makes you sing. Like, it takes a picture of you, and all of a sudden you're singing, right? Like, David, isn't that true?
Yeah, I didn't write the app, but yes,
you
I
have one on your phone. I've seen it. I know. It's a real thing. It's very scary.
But I was in a security meeting, and they were talking about how AI is now, they'll email you back. So when you email somebody, if it's a scam, they'll email you back, and it's a AI doing it all to try and scam you.
Right.
And that's a little bit concerning too.
Well, right, because all right, so let's just dive in for a second on that, right? The difference. Go ahead.
Oh, just like Brian said, though, the whole thing overall is going to just totally make life better.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all see, some huge benefits there. But like what you just explained is the difference between a bot and an AI bot, right? So what's the difference? Well, a bot has pre-programmed pre-programmed answers to pre-programmed questions, right? So if it sees keywords, it knows that's the topic, and it throws up solutions based on you giving it instruction ahead of time. An AI bot is learning, right? Yesterday, I had a guy ask me the same question. And you know what the answer was in the end? It was this, that, and the other. So let's just give you that answer first, right? Because I'm learning. I know this worked for this dude. It probably will work for you, right? Like, that's the difference. And so now you get into the whole, well, the machines are going to take over the world, right? Like they're going to learn everything. And next thing you know, we're having a war, like on, whatever. Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up and says he's back, and, off we go. Right.
It'll be interesting when it gets to the point where you have, an AI bot call you and start talking to you and can figure all that stuff out too and have a conversation to scam you.
I mean, my gosh, can you think about it? Like, all right, we all already like to be our own doctors with Google, right? Right? Do you ever do that where you feel sick and so you go on Google and you look up the symptoms and you come up with a list of things that it could be and you decide it's this one, so and you're done, right? Well, look, now I can go have a telehealth, meeting, with a non-existent person that has a real picture that's going to give me answers to my questions about the health things, right? And be able to maybe troubleshoot, diagnose my problems, and provide guidance.
Yeah.
You know, questions about attorneys, right, or finances, investing. Like, hey, I'm thinking I got $50,000 and I really want to make sure I'm setting my grandson up with a college education. What's the best way for me to do that? And can you guide me? And then next thing you know, it's talking to you and, well, look, I'm watching over here and this guy's doing this way, wonderful stuff, right? Like that's very, very, very cool, very powerful. All of it can be used for bad as well. But that's no different than anything.
It's not. And there's going to be these threat actors looking to do whatever they can and monopolize off of whatever they can. And
Right.
There's nothing you can, like anything else, just there's limits to your own knowledge, right? As much as you want to, so what we say is take the experience, make it a positive experience, and then moving forward, there's listen, it's not up to us to do diligence on something like this. This is out there. This is being used, and it's publicly talked about the pros and cons. And I think one of the cons, getting back to the Microsoft, investment, and I know you and I talked about it earlier, David, is there potential there for people to lose jobs, right? If you have built AI into being able to code and program, quicker and when a human does it, when there's a problem in an application, you find that line of code and you fix that line of code, and potentially you can have AI write that flawless code, right? So then you're less dependent on the human interaction or skill set. And I'm going to follow that by saying, maybe you still need programmers, but you don't need this level programmers anymore. So maybe that pool of talent is going to drop. I don't know, speculation,
Hey,
but
all right. So look, all right, let's think about that. I like what you're saying there. Here's what I see. Microsoft Word, right? I got it on my computer because I have some funky off the wall scanner attached, right? My drivers cause Word to crash. And so Word, having AI built into it, self-heals the code to fix the conflict with that particular driver.
Mm-hmm.
And it continues to work. I mean, that's some
really
cool concept,
yep.
Right? Like I'm thinking that's just like, our tickets, our trouble. Like, what are we focusing on? Strategic growth. We're helping our clients be businesses that are making more money and going down the road. Okay, that's all what we want to be doing,
mm-hmm.
Right? We're protecting them and letting them be profitable and thrive. So, certainly that's the upside, right? And,
we're not there yet, right? We're not there yet. Right.
We're not. It's coming, and I think it's exciting to watch it happen.
Yeah.
We cannot stop it, and so vetting it is not. It's
right.
not a question of that. It's how can you use it to your benefit, right? And then you got to just still do the right things, just like we do today. We still got to protect the networks. We got to protect the endpoint. We got to protect the person. We got to train. None of that changes with AI.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's the equivalent of in the real physical world. They talk about automation and robots and eliminating jobs, and you go to fast food. McDonald's got all machines now, and it's all just
pumping Cokes and
yeah, exactly. And it's okay. So now you are eliminating jobs physically in the 3-dimensional world, but now here in this AI space. That's kind of what I was talking about. Is you potentially, it can, but also if you're a programmer, I mean, I don't know what's involved in AI. It's not it's constantly evolving.
Right.
Possibly get into that space and embrace it and work there and make it better than it is today.
I think it's safe to say in our industry for certain that there's enough of a shortage of help, right? Of talent, of people, of skill, that I don't know that we got to worry about any of our jobs like being circumvented per se by that. And I think in the industry, like in our country, certainly there is a shortage of staffing and we see that service hurting. And so Yes, there could be potential for job loss. I mean, as with any new thing, right? Cars, brought drop, like all things bring any new innovation, any new progress or technology is going to cause a problem for the old stuff,
Right.
right? But that's the definition of progress on some level. And so the world is getting slightly smaller. We're not having as many kids, so like, I mean, uh, you got to fill some of these jobs, right? If we can automate these processes, then the people who can do the work, who can take the jobs, can, like you say, do the more important things.
Mhm.
Like you're right. It's okay to have AI writing code, but it's still really good to have somebody who knows the business and knows code review it, right? It's just hey, yeah, it's good at that, but there's something that just a human eye,
Yeah.
like no different than the SOC team, right? We have thousands of alerts coming in, and every once in a while, an alert warrants having somebody look at it, right? Now we got to look a little further and see and dig in and find out what's going on and determine, is this real? How
Right.
can we fix it? What's going, so
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. So I think one of our points earlier talking about what Microsoft is doing, and on the in a similar landscape. I mean, Google is doing the same thing on their own as well. So it's not
Yeah.
just there's not one innovator here or someone with a better idea. It's just Microsoft is rapidly investing in this technology, and they are still the driving computer software vendor probably in the world. And you see action like that, and Google, like we were talking earlier, also David, has been at the top of its game for so long, and they're doing the same thing, not with OpenAI. They're creating their own AI, so it's not like if this stuff freaks you out. No, I'm not going to deal with Microsoft. It's happening all
Right.
over. It's not
No,
just one
right.
flavor, and that's it. It's in they have their own. So there's that to keep in mind also.
Well, and I'll go ahead and I'll just put it out there. I'll
Go
throw
for
my
it.
neck on the block. It's all fine. But I will say, and I know you disagreed slightly before the meeting here, or the podcast. But look, if anything, OpenAI, ChatGPT being integrated by Microsoft into their Bing, it's giving Google some pressure on the search engine side of
The
things.
stock is
Right?
up today, by the way. I just checked. So
Okay, cool. That's wonderful. And so, but if
Google's or
nothing else,
Microsoft's.
Google.
it's going to make Google step up their game, right? Because now
Absolutely.
somebody is actually showing a potential, if small as it might be, of being able to dethrone Google, which was never a concept
No, I
up
agree.
until
That I agree with.
and a lot of people still say it isn't a concept.
Right.
And I get it. I'm just saying, I'm not saying Microsoft's going to throw Google, like that's not, I'm simply saying it's making their search engine viable against Google, right? And especially if you're using those things in your business, and that search engine is kind of helping with that part of it too.
Yeah.
Microsoft's not stupid. I mean, they are in the business software business, right? Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
And if they can get you using their search engine to search through your data and your documents and use OpenAI, you're not going to switch over to Google to do a web search.
Well, listen, let's be honest. Microsoft back in the day, they were sued because they forced you to use Internet Explorer. Remember, it was, so they built that into the operating system. So
right.
They've circumvented that now. But again, so I don't think that there's a lot of people that, even in my immediate, let's call it my friend group, which is not very big, but
mine's not existent, but okay.
They don't know anything
Friend
about
thing
Chat.
he's talking about.
Friends, David. We'll have a session on Friends. We'll
next week.
Yeah, but they don't know anything about Chat GBT, OpenAI. It's me talking about it and introducing it because of who I am. But it's so there's a small population out there but it's all our field mostly. But the fact that now the younger generation caught wind and shit, I can write a paper and just all right, let me take this and rephrase it and do this and there's a plugin in Chrome you can get that'll just rewrite something for you. So you got to be careful. I mean, it's
like yeah.
We're gonna have some stupid kids graduating high school and college.
Man, it takes me back, like what it is to be alive today, right? Like
Yeah.
when we were kids, right? I tell you, like all the old things, no pagers, right? No cell phones, no nothing, right? Nothing. Like it was literally 3 channels of TV. It was black and white at one time in my life. Okay.
Ooh,
And,
wow. What does that
so
mean?
tin foil on the antenna,
Yeah.
Coat hangers.
A whole different world, man. Different.
Yeah.
It's great, fantastic stuff.
No, cool. Thank you, guys. This was informative and something to kind of, and this may change. Will change in the next 6 months, 12 months. It'll hopefully with what Microsoft's doing, the advancements will be more commonplace to the maybe not the employees of companies, but the business owners are aware of what can be done. And it depends on your business as well. I mean, it's not every user is not going to be impacted by this directly immediately, but in some form down the road, there's going to be like you're saying, David. Maybe your Outlook crashed in the background. You didn't even know it, and it fixed itself and got working again. So stuff like that is going to be beneficial to us, beneficial to the consumer. And I think short term, it's a long ride. I mean, there's nothing short term here,
I think initially for sure, right? It'll be seamless, right? It'll be invisible. Most folks who have it or use it in any way won't really know it. Just because it'll be there and somehow helping them.
Yep.
But in time, and then yes, as you said, the last thought is it is ever evolving, right?
Yep.
It's a new thing, so to speak. It's 4 or 5 years in, but it's going to change massively as the industry starts to see what can happen with it, what can be done with it, how it can help and fix problems. This is where now we need our best minds to get involved and start turning it into productivity, so cool stuff. I'm excited. I really am.
All right, guys.
All right, man. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks.
Have a good
Good to see everybody.
All right. Yeah. See you.
See you soon.